Well, this is the third part in our series for the what's missing. When we look at the scripture, and we've been talking about how we can miss things if we just read through a story. We just kind of make it seem like everything happens within a 2-hour period. But the reality is there's stuff that happens that actually takes a lot longer. So between a period of a sentence and the beginning of a next sentence or new paragraph, there could be a time span that we don't know. But there's some things that we can think about to help us develop our character and see what God is trying to also teaching us. And we can also see how we can see the scriptures as real time, and just to kind of see what happens. Remember, we've looked at Abraham and the visitors, where they prepared a meal for the visitors before the visitors went off and Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. The last time we talked about Joseph in Genesis chapter 40 interpreting the dreams, and how much discernment he would have had to take. So the time of preparation and the time of discernment was not actually said in Scripture, but those are some things that we do need to think about. So we don't just always expect things to happen instantaneously. Today we're going to look at, this video we're going to look at the Magi visiting Jesus. So we're going to be in Matthew chapter 2. Matthew chapter 2 verses 1 to 12, and I'll read it, and then we'll say a few things about what might be missing from this text that we can think about. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." After they heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. So what's missing? The thing I've loved about this story, and the thing I often like to talk about, is the journey the Magi took. You see, they would have had to have been studying the astronomical signs. They would have had to have been looking in the star and being prepared for something to happen. So they kept looking. They noticed the movement of the stars and the planets. So they were prepared. But then they had to go on a journey. They came from the east. So that means they would have been traveling west. So they came from more Arab areas, and they would have had to travel a long time, a long way, through desert, through mountains, through cities, through different pasture lands. The things that they may have experienced on their journey would have changed them. They may not have expected some of the stuff they had on their journey, but even in the process of their journey, they kept moving forward. They kept moving forward to get to where the star was. They wanted to see what was there. So the journey was getting them prepared for and excited for the destination. So often I think we tend to think about the destination rather than the journey that is developing us and moving us into who we are made to be. So that's what I want us to think about, is the journey that the Magi had to take in order to get to Jesus. Jesus was here. They had to make the journey to go see him. The other thing is the Herod's officials had to search the scriptures. They had to go through a journey of their own in order to find out what the scriptures say. And when they got to the place where the scriptures were saying that the Messiah was to come out of Bethlehem, that's when they got there. Imagine how much scripture they would have had to read before they got to that point. Think about the journey of reading the scripture. Think about the diligence of studying, how long that would have took. But their end result, their destination, was to find out the piece of information that they were looking for, and they found it. They stayed committed and they persevered in the journey. And that's what we want to think about, is what's missing in the text that we can kind of read between the lines is the journey that happened in order for the people to get to their destination. And when they got to their destination, they found what they were looking for because they were expectant on the journey, and they traveled persevering through all kinds of trials and all kinds of setbacks, most likely, but they made it. And the journey they went on was the journey of a lifetime because they got to the King of Kings. I don't know what kind of journey you're on or what kind of destination you're looking at, but I'm encouraging you. I am encouraging you to not to look at this journey that you are on as too hard, as incompletable, because there is a destination that you are moving to. And I pray that God gives you the perseverance and the faith and the strength and the courage to continue and complete the journey in order to get where God has called you to be, so you can do what God has called you to do, because God has made you for a reason, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Thanks.